I don't think it necessarily means that they don't need an amendment, but I think it's more likely that they don't need one because they had already prepared it and had like legal review and stuff like that.
So when does this draft come into effect? A few days before?
It shows up retroactively. So the thing is, what'll happen is they will have already done it. It won't show up in Edgar, but then when they file the S1, then you'll see the DRS come out with an older date. So they'll show up retroactively.
What comes first, the effect or the DRS?
The S1 comes, and if they had done a DRS, then the DRS will come out as well with an older date, and then the effect comes when they do the offering.
Basically,
All it basically means is that the S1 can potentially be ready for effect without any amendments.
yeah. So basically, they've done their work beforehand. Now, the elephant in the room comes is how do we take advantage of this? Will the DRS, from your experience, I think this is a data point we need to track. Does it come 1 day before, 2 days before the offering, before the gap up? Any thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, it comes the same time the S1 comes out because it's something that was already filed and it just comes out retroactively when the S1 comes out. So it's just it's an indicator, kind of like when it just gives more higher likelihood that an offering can happen. Similar to like if you see consecutive S1As, then that's another indicator, right? That's like increases the likelihood of an offering happening.
Okay. I think we should
Like an S1 without the DRS and without any amendments is like less likely that it's going to happen immediately.
maybe it's the sun hitting my face, but I think we have gotten enough value that we can close Leria and call it a day. Because this is pretty fucking gold, honestly. That means so we're basically able to predict an offering is coming, and you can put on a heavier risk on. You can locate quite a bit more, knowing that if they have 1 to 6 months of cash left, and S1 comes out and there's a gap and they have a DRS out, this is a really, really good edge. So I would like to make a request. Sorry, JJ, for putting you on the spot, bro. I love you. Can you please tag us as a team? Feel free to use @here when you see something like that. We can put some of our max losses on that name. Is that too much to ask, JJ? Because honestly, this is a beautiful edge. This is a beautiful, sexy edge.
I mean, the thing is, like, it means like with any other offering, though, it's like you still have to be really careful because, like, look at ACVO, like, not like
That's the
that
thing.
was
Oh,
difficult one to like.
No. I think that's what's happening. So even though we are retail, I think other people picked up on the DRS ahead of time. So maybe that's what's causing the squeeze, and there's no other people know that the offering is coming, and that's why they push it a bit higher before the offering comes down, because they know other people are involved. And I think this is a new playbook too. Am I thinking too deep? That APVO?
No, I mean,
it's
just like you said, it's playbook. Like they did something similar with ALUR where they ran it like that. In my experience, that type of move before an offering is very rare. Like you almost never see that kind of move and then the offering drop. It's almost always downtrends in an offering announcement. So, but they did, like I said, they did do it on ALUR, where Roth with Wonderwriter, they did like the same. Like the chart was the same. It just happened earlier. It happened before in pre-market.
Roth,
and was it the offering at the
Roth was involved?
Yeah.
I forgot how to spell Roth. Just put ROTH. And then APVO this, and then PCSA. Okay. So the takeaway for me for this one, sorry for speaking a lot, but if we have a DRS, I think everybody else is going to be involved in short as well. So they're kind of going to disobey the technical aspect, which makes risk management really hard. But the risk reward is there. The edge, I think, will come from just having a bit more locates and being ready. The technicals, like I think we talked about it last week. Anybody that quote unquote cut APVO was very lucky that didn't obey risk and things like that. But now we know that that's in the playbook, and they have done that 3 times. You think APVO? I don't have the other one, JJ. You're saying it had the same price action where they pushed it higher and then they did an offering.
Yeah, ALUR.
Are the rest of you guys excited? You excited about that too? Or is that just me in my head? And I'm just like, oh, it's nice.
Yeah, like JJ said, I think that's the reason why we get so many crazy moves on these, right? Like even for long plays.
Oh, the long play would be tough. I mean, I guess we could.
I mean, APVO went from 7 to 4. Did it run 100% off the open? Yeah, I think it ran 100% off the open. How would you guys play something like that? Just kind of wait till below VWAP, or?
I mean, that I did. Honestly, like I don't really think there's anything you really could have done about that one. Like Afghan said, I mean, I was lucky because I just happened to have my finger right over the button when the offering hit, and I just like clicked it because I don't even have hotkeys. I'm not going to get into why I got rid of them, but like I think a lot of the people who were able to catch that offering were like honestly probably lucky. I mean, it's a tough one to find a good spot to get in. Look at it; it's just going straight up, and then they drop an offering. Like, how are you supposed to manage risk on that one?
Yeah, I got lucky on that. I think that bounce though, after that 5, it hit 5 and bounced to 7. That trade was underrated. But other than that, I couldn't find a good way to trade it.
I think one thing.
I mean, I shouldn't say lucky. I'll say lucky if you were like adding and adding and adding. If you were like patient and then you were just waiting for extension, right? Then that's, it's all. I know some guys are probably just like adding and adding and just like got bailed out.
Yeah.
That's horrible trading. I think that's a blow. But a cleaner. So I got stopped out on it 2-3 times, and it's just the structure seemed like it was gonna fade and didn't. And I tried to. So one way that I think we could participate in something like that, especially when it pushes that high, it's the same basic 101 stuff, and it's something as opposed to being fearful of. We need to really put emotion to the side and know longs are involved, so it's gonna have a really nice range. So long story short, what I'm saying, on the first vault after, we should participate in the offering. So you can participate in the auction. So once it gets halted, it's called an auction. You just place an entry using MMO, MO, or whatever different else. There's so many ways to message after. I can let you know. But whenever as soon as it unhalts, you'll put it.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Abel was talking about that on voice.
How do you not know that? You've been trading for 10 years plus, bro.
I didn't know about that.
Hey,
I had no idea.
That's the beautiful part about the group session we have. Yeah. Participating in auction, in my opinion, especially knowing there's a lot of longs, unless like it does 200 million shares and the offering amount shares are like 500K, then I would be cautious. But other than that, I think it's pretty safe, especially if like doubling the float or outstanding shares that you could just, the first halt, just participate in the auction, have a wider stop, but just hit it a bit hard. Instead of 1R or 0.5R, put like a 1.5 risk versus a high 1.5R. Good session, sorry, and let's move forward. As a Canadian, I'm going to say sorry multiple times, so please get used to it. DWSN, dilution, DWSN. No dilution on it. Anything for this that you guys... Like, this is a playbook when it gaps up really high and then goes down, fades quite a bit. Even if it bounces here, you could short or have a white stop. Anybody have any reasons
so
why
this one? I think that day there was just a lot of gappers. So, there's a lot of gappers. So the strength was just all spread out. So it kind of made sense to short some off the open because this one was noticeably weak.
Yeah, I see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good one. How would you have entered? What would you have risked at them?
So this one I just entered right off the open, and I had some room for a second bullet if it wanted to push into VWAP. Okay. So I only got my first bullet.
But does that bullet have a risk somewhere?
Yeah, the risk would be like a VWAP reclaim. But keep in mind, like VWAP comes down if it starts pushing, right? Because there's more volume coming in and then the line comes down a bit more aggressive.
Okay. So had you, let's say in a hypothetical worst case scenario, if this goes above VWAP and it holds higher, goes higher, you don't add any Would you lose 1R or would you lose 0.5? Curious.
Probably 1R, like, because if it like trapped a little bit more at VWAP, I probably would have added, and then I would have had the stop out for the full position on like a push above it, like a hold and push above it.
Right.
So yeah, my risk would be probably right around where your cursor is.
Right.
Be a bit higher.
Makes sense. 860, 870, whatever. But no ads, you would have still lost 1R, is what you're saying.
No ads, I would have lost like half an hour.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Nice. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I'm gonna zoom through this stuff, guys. Please, don't make me ask you one by one. Please don't. Anything that's in your mind, just spit it out. Because if you have it, or if you have the question, or if you have the comment, likely somebody else has it, and we can build upon it. So we're all brothers here. Don't hesitate to speak your mind. Next one, SAFX. I guess any thoughts on this? How do we capitalize on that? Or it's low in count.
This one, I think this was a lockup play. SAMX.
Okay. In Flash, in Ask Edgar, does it show somewhere what these lockups? Or you just
Yeah, it's at the bottom. There's a lockup section at the bottom.
Can you put it on the Sunday market recap? I'm posting it. Don't give you if you want.
Yeah.
So that's a good one too. The other thing I'm noticing here is the stock is obviously pushing really heavy, and then the ones that obviously fade 50% right off the pre-market high. What's interesting is a lot of the guys that were shorting pre-market get screwed, and now they tend to be fading 50%. So it's always this. I think that's a segment on its own too. Same pattern here. So they get blown up. That's crazy. Went up to $10 and opened at 3. So these three all seem to have faded like 40%, 50%. The logic here, that thoughts in my head, as we could see, there's like 24 mil volume, 14 mil, 17 mil. Is like if it pushes higher, anybody that was semi-bagged in here would be like, oh, please, thank God I got out on the wave. Any other thought processes on this stuff? On the ones that are fading or this thing? Stack is the same way. Wow, 3, 4 back to back. And all of these, this is ironic. So all of these ones have faded another 40%. And I think people don't touch it because they're like, oh, look, it has already faded 50%. But then you look at the return, opening price 320 and then fades once. So that's a 50% fade. That's very cool. Very, very cool. Very nice. All of them the same. Not this one, I guess. Holy smoke, pre-market. Okay, it's 30 cents. DFLI. Oh, yeah. I think you guys showed it this. DFLI. This would fade 32. So this is notorious for these days. We're having a quote-unquote liquidity event above the high, pushes and then rejects. These are good setups. They're happening, I think, at 2 o'clock often, 2 to 3 p.m. on stocks with a lot of volume, or kind of right off the open, which sucks because we may think, oh, the abnormal thing is to short this or short this versus the high, but stops the no. I guess you could always come back in here. Any comments on DFLI? Ben, have you anything from this stuff up here or DFLI?
DFLI, I didn't trade, but I think you guys talked about this setup last week. I think you guys called it something like VWAP setup or failed VWAP setup.
Yes. Brother Adnan educated us on that, which is very interesting. Yeah. This is the one where technically sometimes this is supposed to be my long if this consolidates for a long period of time and it goes above and holds. So usually I'd be looking to ask somewhere here if it bases, and then my risk would be this. Any other comments, Ben, on the other tickers from earlier today? Like the stuff that we talked
DWSN, there were a couple of tickers that had similar action where they squeezed like 1,000% in pre-market, then faded into the open. And most of them, they always faded even more into the close. There was like TNON, BON, I think, another one. And
The other ones, they had a push off the open, like 30-40%, and then they faded quite quick. So this one was like an inception, and I didn't trade this one.
Interesting. So when it pushes 1,000% off pre-market, some of them you're saying they push into the first 30 minutes? Do you recall the names?
Yeah, TNON.
What's up? This one's not picking it up. I guess it didn't have 40% favorite.
Well, it was not this week.
Oh, what was last week?
It was last year. I mean, push off 1,000% in pre-market is pretty rare, right?
Oh, yeah. That was.
So it's
but
an
that's
anomaly. You don't find that many similar tickers that push that much. But the ones that did, they had similar action where they always closed very weak.
yes. But Tinon, I think, was a day 2. But 1,000%.
Yes, Tinon was day 2.
But intraday, like in the past week or 2 weeks, you have found some stocks that have pushed, like this one is pushed quite a bit, 500 to 600%. It opens weak and then it pushes, or
No, not like these super low volumes stocks. I don't pay attention that much to them. If they're like the main gapper, then I see them, but the stuff that you have on your screen, I don't really see that. I have volume criteria in my scanners.
what's your volume criteria?
I think at least a couple 100K shares.
Oh, per minute basis?
No, in total. Just in case if something pushes like 10 minutes before open so that I can catch it. But this one is pretty illiquid because you have the 3-minute shut on, or the 1 minute it's even less.
But this one traded 32 million shares pre-market and 42 million. I don't understand. Yeah.
Can you go to 1 minute?
But your filter is 100K per.
And what's the gap of this one?
This one's weird. So this one just random. The gap value is 30. It's really low. Yeah. This wouldn't be my radar as well. But DFLI would be on my radar.
Yeah, this one was in play.
Stack would be my radar because like 17 0 pre-market volume. Intraday volume was crazy. It was nothing intraday. It's very cool. Okay. Before we move, what's your volume criteria? You said 100K something.
100K shares in pre-market.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's normal. 500K, 600K, yeah. Okay, so I'm quickly going through this. IMRX, really nice fade. Pushes from 2 to 3, not bad. But some nice faders in here. IMRX, really low so this is low volume. Yeah, they have ATM. Frick, yeah. Low volume ATM. Low cash and ATM in it. That's what made this one fade. Let's look at how do we avoid losers or go long the evil short sellers. RG is tricky. Wow. This is a crazy name. I hope nobody, I don't know if you guys were trading it or not. I was tempted a few times, but after reverse split, it just went bananas. I don't think anybody would trade it with us, right? So this is a good open range breakout. Any IPOs, I think. IPOs, AI related. A lot of venture funds want to spend money. There's a lot of private companies that have AI, and eventually they're going to come to the stock market and use it as an exit liquidity event. But I find IPOs and AI are something to avoid. So I guess that's just a long. I don't think it's a short. HUSA, really good candidate. We could kind of maybe talk about at the moment. So I'm sure you guys know, but in case you don't, the USA just got involved, I think on Saturday, where they bombed Iran's quote unquote nuclear facilities. So oil names are going to gap up on Monday again. HUSA will be likely involved. These tickers, I think, will also get involved. EONR, USCG. So there you go. JJ probably did a way better job in mentioning these tickers. Oh, look at that. JJ the Man by Jeremy Keaton. Oil news. I will add some of them. UNO. JJ, do you remember the name?
Are you of what?
There's another. I wrote a bunch of letters. How do you say it? EONR? Okay.
EONR, and I think EWSN is one too.
Are you just talking about overall oil watch list, or are you talking about ones
Yeah.
that ran in the
Oil watch list that ran in the past, small cap. That one edge I find is whenever sector move like that happens, as dumb as it sounds, but it's really good edge. Just go for the one with the smallest market cap because you can pick
yeah,
up volume.
I did that on GBR and I lost on it. That those the one ticker that goes every single time oil runs didn't do anything. It was full.
You're just bad luck, bro. God has gifted you with the brains, but not with luck. Okay.
I think BATL was one. What else is there? Do we have RBNE on there? Also, there's like kind of shipping, dry bulk shipping names went along with oil.
DATL, you said? I will update that list. You can update that list after too.
Yeah, I'll put together. I haven't done my research, but I'll put together a list and all the runners or potential runners.
So while we're in this topic here, let's discuss as a group for 5 minutes. HUSA, all the other oil names. How are we? Don't be biased. Just speak from your heart. What are you gonna do on a Monday if oil name gaps up? Are you avoiding it? Are you shorting it? We're gonna dance. What's everybody doing? Let's start with right, and then we go left. In my screen, I have Ben. Where's mine?
Yeah, I would look at the price action of the ones that have dilution, like HUSA, and I might still be short bias on them, even if they're like super in play. If they have enough dilution, then they can still use the volume to dump it, but only if the price action is good, you know?
I don't think it has dilution though. HUSA. Am I wrong?
I think we did an offering, right? 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Man, what was it? It was $2 million, which is like 600 shares, no? No, 200. It's only 200,000 shares. But, okay. I would be, yeah. Makes sense. No
I
problem.
think another ticker is INDO. See, this one has a little bit more dilution.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
I have like an ATM.
Okay. INBO. Brother Ben says it has dilution. It has dilution. ATM. Do short. Anything else?
I'm not sure if I'm gonna long anything. But if there's like a ticker with a small float and it keeps grinding, then maybe one ticker is always gonna make a big push, right?
Yeah.
We can figure out which one gonna push high and grind all day, then I might long this one.
Any trigger entries or just basic price action?
Just price action.
Okay. INDO 26. No. Convertible notes. Yeah, it has ATM of 3 million. The market cap on INDO is 67 mil. Yeah, that'd be a good candidate. Martin, JJ, what do you guys think about INDO? Adnan, have you been following? Yeah, they had an ATM recently with HC Winner. Yeah. Any comments on INDO dilution?
I don't know about any specific stock, but like I think tomorrow, if there's a bunch of names gapping up, I think I'm just going to be looking for the ones that are relatively weak, and then probably just be pretty aggressive with the covers, because it could be like similar to that first day oil gapped up where there was just so many. And then I think towards the end of the day, like there's a couple that maybe have reclaimed, and then the ones that were weak off the open, they just kind of stayed weak. So that's how I'm going to play them.
Very beautiful thought process. I never thought about it like that. So it makes sense. Be aggressive with covers. That's really cool aspect. Something. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes, especially because like it's probably going to be a lot of headlines. So you never know, like, you know, another, like, and say there's an attack or some news comes out, like they could be kind of choppy.
because last time RBNE was the one that was kind of strong all day, and then HUSA just kind of grinded against VWAP all day. But then there was a bunch that just kind of stayed weak and like they closed decently below VWAP as well. And like they all gave decent entries like around VWAP or like lower highs off the open. Because I'm thinking it might kind of be a sell off at the open, and then later on it's going to be the strong tickers are going to show and like the weaker ones are going to fade away.
Yeah, that's what happened last week, and then that's also what happened in 2022, where you got the news, right, of the conflict starting, and then you got the gaps, and then the gaps sold off kind of quickly, and then they all started kind of curling back, or some came back quicker than others and finished strong. Some of them finished weak, but then there were more developments the next day, and then they all gapped up again, and then they sold off. That's kind of what.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to play these, and then you just kind of let them show which ones are strong, which ones are weak.
Yeah, I personally don't know how I would play it, because the thing is, like, these are all people trade these depending on what developments they think are going to happen, right? So like if they think that developments or news that are going to come that are going to be beneficial to oil, then that's where you get that curl up and they don't break down because everybody's kind of buying up, anticipating the news. And then I think Nate will mention this too, but like I think was it earlier this week, I think the oil names are kind of being bought up as people were expecting developments, or no, last weekend people were expecting developments over the weekend, right? And then nothing happened. There was zero news on the conflict or anything, so then all the oil names just like out.
We could have like bag holders now too, where like some of them sold off quite a bit, and if those same ones gap up, that could kind of help in the sell off. But yeah, there might be developments coming up too, so it's tough to say. But I think like the weak ones that aren't getting a lot of volume, and like if they have a little bit of dilution too, it could be a good fade, I think. But yeah, it's all going to be about stock selection tomorrow morning, I think.
And you brought up an interesting point. If there's a lot of gappers, I was actually, prior to our conversation, I was leading, because definitely we can't swing short. That's obvious. Thankful we don't do that. But I was leading towards, like, not sure or just before. But I think last time that was a mistake. Like I avoided any of the gappers, and I think a lot of them faded really nicely. So yeah, good point. If there's a lot of gappers and a lot of them, not everybody can have all of the attention. Some of them will fade.
Yeah.
Just gotta know which one those are. And I think for me, I'm just gonna take a logical approach. The best case scenario is it's my turn, but so the best case scenario, we see like 6 to 8 gappers and they're all oil names. We could put discretionary into it and be like, okay, well, these 4 or 5 look weak. Or the other scenario that I kind of like to do is I just short all of them, obviously with risk and price management, proper entries and blah, blah, blah. And then whichever one just pushes higher and is not obeying, okay, I eat the stop. Or whichever one's working, I just kind of add a bit more. If I'm at like one risk, about I'm at the 0.5, 0.7, and yeah, that will offset it.
Yeah, and I think one of the mistakes that I made, and I think a lot of other traders also made, was when the oil names gapped up last week, they're all pretty weak off the open, but then it was just RBNE that was left, and I think I definitely assumed that, okay, these all just kind of faded off. RBNE probably you're just going to put in a decent push and then just start fading as well. Well, that didn't happen, and that was a tricky stock all day. But I built in that bias that, all these other oil names faded. RBNE is probably just going to lose steam and start fading as well. So I think it's key to not touch that super strong one.
I think that has been the kind of theme for the past month or two, like we talked about. That's why I love our Sunday recap, is there's always one ticker that's fully strong. And if we just avoid that, it's like mitigates a lot of pain. Okay, cool. Very cool. Very awesome. But we are going to go back into the row. Brother Arsenal, you're next, if you don't mind. What's your perspective? Anything from your heart, how you felt? What are you going to do if a bunch of oil name gaps up or if one or two oil name gaps up? Avoid, trade, ignore.
For Hussa, I was looking at how Hussa had a recent reverse split. I personally would prefer going long just because I can just cut it, right? Like if it goes above VWAP, I'm gonna long it. Hussa, or there's another one I was looking at. I forgot what it was. Was it EONR? Yeah, I think it was EONR. I just feel more comfortable longing them just because like Adnan was saying, you have to cover the flushes. You have to be so aggressive covering, right? And I'm worried that I'm not gonna be able to do that with so much going on, and I'm gonna miss my cover, and then I'm gonna take cuts on it. So I think longing it might be the easier trade, but I could be wrong, of course. It's just my thoughts.
Are you longing the dip off the open? Are you going to long range breakout or open range breakout?
For Hussa,
For everything. I guess
I'm looking at Hussa personally.
Okay.
Because it just had an offering and that got soaked up. So I think there's lower risk of an offering. I got to look at the filing. But essentially VWAP reclaims and then just kind of risk below right off the open type thing. Like even off pre-market open, like I'm thinking about waking up in the morning to kind of, because once you kind of get positioned in and then it kind of goes, like if I get in at like $13 and it goes to like 18, I can kind of risk my break even type thing for open. But I mean, it could always fall. It could always like not work, right? But I just don't feel comfortable shorting oil, if that makes sense right now.
Honestly, I was in a similar boat to you prior to coming in. But maybe I'm gullible. And the guys convinced me that there's a lot of gap we could short. So this is
There are a
Hussa's,
lot, I think.
so this is Hussa's price action. What are you saying? Tomorrow, if this holds above 1650 or has an open range breakout, you're gonna long?
Yeah, exactly. And you can always risk like right below, what is it, $13. And I'm not gonna take much size. Obviously, my size isn't much anyways, but just like a feeler, just to kind of, so I can monitor the trade. And then as we clear VWAP, I think it's you have clear risk. There's no stops in pre-market, unfortunately, but so I'm gonna have to watch it myself. But unless there's an offering or something, I think you can really manage your risk well on a play like this.
So you're looking at it from pre-market point of view.
Yeah, like right off the 4 a.m. open type thing.
That's smart. At what price would you say that's not a good long then? I like that idea too, but
Right above like $18 seems like a bit of a chase. Ideally, I want to be in before like that lower high on Thursday, Friday, which is like $18, $18.50. And this thing's like, it trades very thin too, I noticed.
yeah,
It just kind of skips along.
yeah. It's I think it was long this name from $3 or something, 360 or something. I don't know. Or maybe I don't remember. And that's a very good idea, bro. I like her. I personally think it's good. If it's above volume profile, it makes sense. So I'm gonna write that down. Anything else you would mention? What are you gonna do if there's a lot of gappers or any other thoughts?
It's tough because tomorrow is like a pretty big day for me. I don't know if I'm going to be on desk, but if I was to be on desk, I would trade it just how I would trade most gappers. Give them a chance. Like if something's gapped up a lot, I have to try and I'm not going to fight it, but I'm going to try and short it. If it shows weakness, go tests VWAP, breaks VWAP, I'm going to get short, set my stop, see if it comes back. If it comes back and hits my stop, I'm going to kind of let it chill. But no, I think if you get a lot of gappers, I still think short bias is the way to go. I think the way they usually run is like they'll kind of like flatten out around 10:30 and then they'll reclaim usually anyways. So, but
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Brother Martin, sorry, some of the guys jumped queues. We can burn them after if you want, Martin.
For me, a lot depends how the oil price will react, because so far nothing is really decided. Maybe the gap up will not be as big as many expect, and based on that, we will also see the micro caps trading. In case we could still get some decent runners, especially at 4 a.m. or later, 7 a.m. or even off the open, if the oil price goes higher. I will probably not long them. I will focus on the short side, and I will try to figure out the ones with relative weakness, or stocks like RPNE, who had 3 offerings last week or this week. If they provide a decent bounce, the certain levels, they should be some natural resistance there.
How are you gonna? You said you're gonna watch oil. How do you watch oil? WTI or what? What ETF do you watch?
The crude oil futures.
I'm as newbie as it sounds. Can you teach me?
But-
What do you watch? Like, what do you search? What?
Yeah,
ticker?
just pull up the crude oil futures in TradingView. Because
Okay, I can't do it here.
the market is I don't know, in TOS probably as well. I think they also, it depends if you have the
What oil?
You can watch USO, right? USO, that's the United States Oil Fund.
you can also watch USO, but only between 4 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Oh.
The futures, they start trading at 6 p.m. Eastern time today, I think.
Oh, so we'll know in 3 hours if it's a good idea to.
I think, midnight European time.
Okay, so then this is worth it. Show us how do we look it up on TOS, if you can.
I don't know, I don't have TOS. Got do a
Let me pull up
backslash and then type in CL, /CL.
Okay, light sweet crude future oil.
Yeah, I think that's the one, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Same price as in TradingView.
This is really cool. Brothers, today's session is inshallah going to be really good. Well, it is good for me. So this, Brother Martin, he said this is prices. It's been a search trade. So anything else, Martin? Can you summarize your stance? I was a bit confused if you were going to give a short bias, sell bias, or it's just like, see.
I'm short biased and I'm looking for relative weakness amongst all of them. And especially among the tickers that have some overhead resistance already, some that traded some decent volume this week.
So which topic?
Last week on Friday. And some of them already had offerings. So if they bounce back 50, 60, 80% tomorrow.
Give me some ticker names that you're going to watch. And also give me the scenario.
RPNE, for example, RPNE, in case this should go back to 10 or 10 to 12 would be, I think, a really big opportunity for a short there. Good risk reward. They had 3 offerings this week. They increased the float from 1 million to 3.7 or so.
Hey, good observation.
And they have more capacity now on their shelf because of their 14 close. So could be that more offerings are coming on this one. So if this goes back, I mean, it closed very weak on Friday because they had an offering again on Friday. But if this goes back to 9 or 10, I would probably put on starter, even front side.
So right now they can only do a 3.5 million offering so far.
I think, they can do another.
Okay. So let's ask another tough question. What happens? One thing we always talked about is best case scenario. But Martin, we'll start with you. What happens if there's only one oil name or 2 oil names? What are we going to do that's gapping up? Same thing?
What do you mean, one oil name?
So I think the consensus, so the consensus for everybody was best case scenario. So if we have 6 tickers and 1 or 2 of them are strong and the rest are weak, then we're going to be shorting the weaker ones. What happens in a scenario that there's only one oil name? Because that's the tough scenario.
Then I will not be.
You'll not be
Right.
interested.
If
What
it
would Airbnb?
will only happen if oil does not gap up. If oil gaps up, even if just 2 or 3%, then all of them will probably also gap up. So this is very likely.
I understand.
I should only one run.
Yeah. So, and I'm putting a hypothetical for a worst case scenario. The way I look at life is if we're prepared for worst case scenarios, then nothing comes as a surprise. So let's just make an assumption. Whatever happened to oil price, only RBNE is gapping up. Or HUSA is only gapping up and RBNE is sideways. And there's only one gapper. Are you going to be looking to short it? Are you going to wait price action? Or
Yeah, then if there is only really one gap, then I will keep an eye on it, and I will watch certain levels from this week to trade against on the short side, depending on how strong oil is, right? If oil is not gapping up, more than 3%, I would look for a trade on the short side, especially if this one ticker that you're talking is running 50%, then I would look for a short trade against certain levels from this week.
Makes sense. Anybody else want to chime in? 1 or 2 sentence? If there's just one gapper, what are you going to do? I understand it's a low probability of the event happening.
Yeah, it's pretty much treated like a regular gapper at that point, and I wouldn't think that the oil theme is in play the same way if it was just one name, right? As opposed to like the entire oil basket. So I just treat it like a regular gapper at that point.
That means you're just going to let the price action dictate if it's short or long, or would you avoid?
Yeah, I would just because for oil for some reason, but just based on like the Ukraine and Russia conflict, I remember the way oil prices, like these small caps reacted. I think back then it was INDO. That was the one that went from like $2 to like 20, and then it faded back down to 10, and eventually went to like 30, 35, and then had like the run to 80, right? So that's why I have like that bias in my head. But I think if just one name is gapping up and it's related to oil, I wouldn't be as worried about it holding up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think overall we're probably just going to be cautious with it. Some of us is going to avoid it. I might lead towards avoiding it. Let's move forward. SRM. This is an interesting on the daily. JJ, do you have anything on SRM?
I sold it right before it spiked up after hours.
Does it have fundamental reason to be? As you said, you said there's anticipating an announcement or something.
Yeah, I mean, this played this is the same way, like MGOL, MLGO. It's a situation where they multi-day runner. Basically, whenever there's a lot of shares that could be sold, but they're not selling them, that always is going to start becoming more long biased, because you got to wonder, like, they bought at 50 cents and they don't seem to be selling anything. So you got to wonder why. And also, not only that, the only 2 other deals that these guys were involved in were DOMH and UMAC, and you look at those charts, just had massive moves. So I'm still bullish on this one, actually. If it like breaks 11, if it flushes people out and then it starts coming back up again, then I'll probably long.
Cool. I guess moving forward, this is RBNE's chart that came if it ever traps and does the same thing. So it looked like pushed off the open and does that 10 a.m. fade look, and then it reclaims. So I think if this happens, then I know you're my beautiful, amazing friend and a scanner. If you see this, just tag me. I will probably long this stretcher, please.
Looks like a good VWAP trap because the volume dried up and was that just slightly below VWAP.
Yes. Yes. So I think if oil does anything like this, or similar to this, any form of like very clear indication that short's going to get involved, I would love to get involved alongside on that. And these are, so I can give my 2 cents in it because I've said it before multiple times. When I looked at a lot of these charts, like 6 years ago, 8 years ago, I am longing off here, risking this structure. So 815, whatever, versus 780. So that's like 40, 50 cent risk. And then on the break of the high where there's a lot of stops, if I have balls, I always speak, I shouldn't, but I speak a bit negatively, is on the high the day I'm supposed to add, but I always suck at breakout. I swear, if I have traded like 500 breakouts, I think 498 of them have always faded. But whenever I look back in these short squeeze plays, on the high of the day, you could technically hit some of the ask, seeing the tape. But if it's 30% size, or ideally even double the size, then it's a really good situation. So long story short, something like this can give you 10 to 1, 20 to 1 risk reward and make your year. We shouldn't be greedy on it, but it would be a mistake not to have this in our playbook. Given that we have sector theme. Okay. moving forward, RELI, for this same thing, no volume trap. I don't know. Let's quickly go over the gappers, and then we can spend 10-15 minutes on best opportunities in the past and forward. And then if anybody wants to bounce, they can bounce. We keep it short and sweet like that. We likely went over all of this stuff, but just in case. ATXG, what the heck is this? Oh wow, there's from 60 cents to 1,000%. Yeah, see, this is a trend. Man, this is because there's a lot of people involved in pre-market, and they actually have like 100% stop. So then they have 200%, 300%. This is crazy. So this is a play. It pushes off and then fades, and then it still fades 59%. So it goes up 1,000%. It opens weak. Comparison to this, it was like 60%, 70% lower.
I mean, honestly, on these plays, it like whenever you see those wild, insane candles, like if you just short it and risk the top of the candle, even if you're risking like 100%, it's like 100% win rate probably. Does it ever reclaim like the wild candle?
But oh, you mean short off the open?
No, I'm just saying like, aren't we? That we're looking at one of those like wild, like 300% 1 minute candles, right?
Honestly, bro, I think there's a bunch of people that
There might be more.
This is 1,000%, JJ.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like over the last year, 6 months, we've seen some of these like insane 1 minute candles. I'm just saying like when you see that, it never reclaims that crazy candle.
I know what you're saying, but I kind of disagree with it because I think the guys have the same thought process as you. Historically, the style.
When have you ever reclaim the crazy candle? Give me one example.
I can think of on the other ones that we saw, the stock would go up like 500%, and then it reclaimed multiple times. Probably DSWN in here maybe. So I guess where do you short in here? It goes from 90 cents to 50.
I wouldn't really count this quote unquote crazy candle. I mean like the 1 minute candle that goes up 100%.
Isn't this 100%? So there's guys, JJ, that have this in algo base. That's what I'm telling you. So they short exactly when the stock goes like 150%, and they have like 100% stock. So this candle is a 3 minute candle. If I switch to 1 minute, I bet it went from 3 to 6 in, wait, that's 100%, yeah. And like 3 minutes probably went, this went from here to here. That's crazy. Yeah, man, fair point, but I don't know if I agree with that pre-market stuff because getting caught 1,000% seems very common. I think it's in my books, it's a dangerous play. But off the open,
I'm joking. I'm just saying I've never seen like a Tenon or like a GRYP or SRM candle like reclaim. I mean, SRM eventually reclaimed it later, but not after the blowout candle.
yeah, I guess once the big blow up happens and a red candle fade happens, you could argue that can't really fade like from 2 to 4. Like the odds of reclaim, I agree with you. On that red candle after the big fade, it's there. In here, this is what you're saying. So from $5.50 to like $3.50, that's almost 1,000%. It's fucking crazy. That's crazy. And then it still fades 56%. Okay, so offering plays, this in here, we talk about the same thing, makes it tougher. KDLY, is this, isn't this is it a bar candy or is it an electric vehicle? Or is it a devolution? KDLY. Anybody traded this? KDLY?
This was last month, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ugh, sorry. I apologize. June 15th. I apologize, brothers. There's only 19 gappers, okay. Yeah, CA, we talked about it. Stack, we talked about it. Yeah, here's $2 to 8. Breakout, stop, continue. Gappers, SRM. Interesting price action. KWE, tough price action. Pushes off the open. RYDE, wow, super tough price action. The 18th. See if it faded nicely out there. Okay, so I think we've summarized last week's action, gappers and big range, and how we can cap out. We talk about whale. What we could do is let's best opportunity. Ben mentioned this, and I think it's useful. Best opportunity we could talk about, and also what was the takeaway from today. If we all mention it, it'd be really cool. And then we could just call it a day, unless whoever wants to stay, whoever wants to bounce. We keep it short and sweet. Unless you guys want to, any other comments, anything else you guys want to talk about? We'll start from the bottom up. Brother JJ, is there an opportunity, like best missed opportunity you had, or an opportunity in the future coming? Keeping it short, precise, like 1-2 minutes, and then maybe 1-2 minute on your takeaways, personal summary from the recap, and how you're gonna next one.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any like huge opportunity that was missed. I don't really see any huge opportunity upcoming because I probably won't participate in the oil stuff, to be honest. I'm just not like, I mean, of the 10 years I've been trading, I don't think I've ever traded it well. So I think I'll just sit it out. And then what was the other one? Like takeaway. Yeah, I guess one thing that I could do better is what Adnan had mentioned was that when there are like a ton of gappers actually, sometimes I shy away from the themes when it's like super hot, but if there's just like a ton of things popping up and running, like it actually is a good opportunity to like to try to focus on the weak ones. Cause the fact of the matter is that, out of 10 things that pop up, really like only one of them's gonna hang around. So that's my takeaway, is to be aware of the, if we get that kind of action where you just have like a lot of things running, look for the weak ones.
Brother Ben, best opportunity from past week that was missed, or best opportunity coming up, and what your Sunday takeaway was?
Yeah, one chart that was interesting to me was SRM on Monday. I saw some people, they were trading the breakout. It was like midday.
Yes.
This stock had, I think, a market cap of like 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really want to buy a breakout when the market cap is like only 10 million. Thing on the higher market cap ones, you can buy the breakout. You had, do you have the chart open, SRM?
Yeah, right here. Oh, am I streaming?
Monday. Yeah.
Okay. Monday is the
16th.
6th. Oh, wow. No, that's weird. Yeah, that one. I don't know why they were. How would this be a break? Like, what's the breakup? We were
Friday.
Yeah, okay. Me and JJ, we were longing this, by the way. This is a playbook, day 3. We were long off of like 10 in here, something like that. And I think a lot of us were long for this breakout on this day. But okay, we'll go here. So you want to go Monday in here. Okay.
Yeah, I think once it got below VWAP, should have stayed below.
Mm-hmm.
And then it reclaimed and it held up above VWAP for looks like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the breakout above the consolidation and also the high of day from the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think many shorts had their stop loss and high of day from the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And after that you can trail it 2-minute bar by bar or sell into strength.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, yeah. Very cool. This is a nice long setup too, yeah. Anytime we can identify that shorts have been trapped and it's holding above VWAP, it's very cool. Okay, cool. So that was your missed opportunity last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate you sharing. Okay. Do you think there's any good opportunities coming this upcoming week?
I think on Monday I will look in pre-market and I will long similar price action on oil related stuff in pre-market.
Okay.
Because one scenario could be that we have tons of action in pre-market, very big runners, and they could all fade into the open.
Mm-hmm.
So one way to be involved on the long side might be to long bullish price action in pre-market already,
That makes sense.
especially on oil stocks that have a very low float. Things they can really run because the seam is really hot.
Yeah. So TPET, EONR are some of the names that are oil that I think that are low market cap, and then USCG as well. And I guess these
Yeah, I
these
think
names.
there might be new oil names coming up
Yes.
we haven't heard or haven't had on our radar.
So it would be TPT,
Oh.
EONR. These ones didn't run, and I think their market cap, I believe, is like 20 million, 20 million, 9 million. No, sorry, 50 mil. Floats.
Yeah, EONR looks like 10 million.
And then 10 million market cap. Yeah, and TPT, this is a 10 million market cap to 11 million. So these are, if volume kicks in, they'll be good. But okay, this one too. USCG is known
They
for.
look pretty dilutive, so I would just go for one big run, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't really want to hold them for multiple hours because there's always a risk of an offering in these two stocks.
Yes, and I think also because they are dilutive, it's a very good chance that it would run up because of lower cash and
Yeah,
higher. But
They could use the seam to pump and then pump it.
by the way, I'm a bit biased, so I hope just to be very open, transparent, because I am looking. I'm only long like 1/10, but I'm waiting for like some proper price action reclaims traps to probably go long in that as well. Okay, so you're long in pre-market. That makes a lot of sense. Yes. So to see how these push pre-market, yes, we need to look here. It's just same old. And what's the other one? USA. How did that run pre-market? Same. Wick wash up, replayed them go, and it broke the low once, and then it replaned kind of. Cool. So next week, what's your takeaway from today's Sunday?
That was just my preparation for tomorrow, and all the other stuff was just recapping.
No, from the voice chat today, what was your summary or takeaway from the recap? Did any points stick out?
I think I'm not gonna trade anything that you guys mentioned in the beginning of the meeting with the offering. It's not really my cup of tea. I might have a closer look to the stuff that you mentioned with the big pre-market runners that dumped into the open, because you said they can still fade a lot, but most of them were quite low volumes, so I will only trade them if they are really in play and have a bigger gap.
Okay. Let me summarize quickly the DRC. The DRC, the stuff that we talked about, it just gives you a little bit of an edge in, like, if you're shorting some name, knowing DRC is involved, it's basically just means that legally everything is done. So it increases the odds of offering. You know how Martin shorts the offering? He's very good at it. So you can be ready for that. And yeah, I think it'd be a very dumb idea to catch it without the price action. But overall, it would be, in my personal book, I think it's really, really worth the time to research it. I think it's almost mandatory to understand further, because if you are trying to long, and I think you have been trying to long, you don't want to get caught. If an S1 comes out and it has a DRC, I would be cautious with that. Or
Yeah, that explanation makes sense.
or if you are trying to short, just have a bit more locates, or know that, hey, it's offering something's gonna come. Okay, awesome. So who is next? JJ messed it up, so we will go. Arslan, you went, right, or no?
For missed opportunity or best, what I think, I didn't talk about that though.
Okay. Yeah, it was at JJ, and then okay, and go up, please, next. So missed opportunity last week, for each week, and then recap today.
What did I miss? I honestly, I'm not even sure, to be honest. I was very like I did trade quite a bit, but WHLR was good, but I didn't miss it. I got it. So it had like the dilution, because I've been keeping up with JJ's. I've been trying to learn more about dilution and stuff, because You guys have been so on point with that, and I want to get better at it. So I thought that's what kind of kept my conviction on WHLR, and try it so many times because I saw JJ write down that he explained it, that the dilution was there. I'm not sure what he said exactly, but I was just reading it in pre-market plans. So I thought that would have been a missed opportunity if I didn't short it, because I was thinking about just leaving it alone after the first couple tries. So I did get that. Other than that, I guess SRM long, but I missed that. Yeah, SRM long, like how Aaron the plumber was saying.
Aaron the plumber. I swear one day he's gonna get rich and he's gonna start a pornography. It's gonna called Aaron the plumber. So that's any opportunity that you're next week that you're gonna play or variable that you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna do this for next week. This could be coming up.
No, nothing in particular. Maybe if oil gaps up, but that's only early pre-market because I want to get it before it kind of makes a crazy move. I don't want to be in it like by market open, unless it like traps heavy and there's other variables in play.
What is your Sunday recap? What are some like 1 or 2 golden nuggets that stuck out?
I still gotta look at it more, but it's regarding that filing stuff you guys were talking about earlier. What was it called?
DRC.
DHRS? DRC, yeah. I'm gonna look into that more and when I just get a moment. But that's really cool, yeah, like you were saying. It'd be awesome to be able to foresee. That way, like, at least I'll keep the play in my face, like, as opposed to, like, APVO. I didn't know about that. I just kind of kept it there. And I was watching it, and then I kind of just noticed the price action was, like, completely falling off. So I'm like, okay, maybe a little bit I'll try here, and then I'll put the stop right at the high of the day. Okay, I'll add a little bit more. But if I knew about that, like that dilutive information, I would have been far more interested.
So cool. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Who is next? Let's see.
I have a quick question. Where do you see where do you see draft equals if it shows DRS? Sorry, maybe I didn't catch that far. Is that like on the filing?
I don't think mention it, but it should be in the filing.
It's on the S1, right?
It's separate filing. You need to just pull up BAMSEC or Dilution Tracker, go to filings, go to prospectus, and scroll down a few weeks before the S1 or F1 came out. You can find the DRS if it's there.
So, all right, thank you so much for explaining that, Martin. Can't see it. Yeah, registration statement draft.
Awesome. I'm happy you asked that question because I'm sure other people were curious as well. So, okay. So Ben went, you went, Brother Martin?
The biggest opportunity this week for me was the two big intraday offerings we had in PCSA and APVO. PCSA I missed, but APVO I catched, and yeah, same kind of pattern on APVO. And while we were talking now, I looked up a bunch of tickers that have a similar situation with a recent S1 and a DRS that got filed with the S1.
I was thinking about that. I was like, maybe we should have a list. Let's do that.
I can post it in there are a few tickers. And yeah, I will maybe watch these tickers next week or coming 1 or 2 weeks. They might maybe run pre-market. Might even be a good long opportunity.
Yeah.
And
with hard stops.
and then later short.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get the list. That's a very cool variable. If you can get a list posted, we'll pin it, please. Yeah, we'll make a list. Okay, awesome. So missed opportunity in the upcoming week. And what's your golden nuggets from the Sunday?
Golden nuggets.
Or thing that's stuck up today.
For me, I like that we talked again about this S1 DRS filing, and while you were talking, I did some research about the tickers that potentially could play this game in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And so for me, this was actually biggest thing I got out of this.
What if we get so long these names? That's 5 bet. We gotta check. Am I crazy? Can we maybe we could backtrack? Let me check. What do you think about that? Can we swing one pin?
Low float now. The really low float ones you can, like nano float. Like APBO was 300k float, right?
I think this is definitely worth looking into.
I think 700.
To give you guys a perspective, me, JJ, and Aho, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we used to long these names and we called it swing back turk long. And we would catch a 1% movers like no tomorrow. And what's long? Basically doing what we're doing with the DRS. We would, but a lot of times you would like beg hold the heck out of it. You would see companies that have low cash, the odds of gap up. And ideally, if it's a market theme, you have to be quicker, but sometimes we would hold for 3 months, 6 months. Some people would risk 100%. If it goes to zero, some people would risk 60%. It was really cool. It was fun. In the long run, either didn't work out in the long run, but could be here and there. So, okay, cool. Go ahead, Billy Martin. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's all.
That's all? Okay. Next week, I know you're very neutral. You just let price action dictate what happens. Okay. No, it's just good. It's just a thought, Connie. Do you have anything else, Martin, to say?
No, not really.
Brother Adnan, you're the last. Make it golden, brother. What are some wise words, things? How do we get rich in one day tomorrow? Tell us the secrets. All in.
I don't know about that, but not my. So, what were you asking? Golden or what to focus on, or what was the question again?
We're trying to basically first aspect is a missed opportunity or the best opportunity, either past week or the next week coming up. Ideally, if it's actionable step, it's useful. And the second aspect is summarizing today's conversation, because your takeaway, somebody else's takeaway, when we verbalize what we say, if it's a critical variable and everybody's kind of saying that we know to mentally, it'll make a stronger note. Because if all of us are recapping what we said, so past, future, and then summary of today, if there anything stuck out.
Yeah, I mean, so for the first part, I think things are kind of changing, and one problem that I'm really running into is that I'm imposing my expectations on the trade way too much, and so I mean, just kind of focus on what's always worked, which is just recognizing a good setup and just putting your stop in with the correct size, and just, not imposing my expectation that, oh, this thing could go here and therefore I need to pyramid aggressively, or just focus on like good entries, good exits, and right position sizing, and just letting the market play out, right? And then and not straying away from my system, right? Because I've noticed things are fading less, especially for bigger gappers. And my key takeaway from today was there's some interesting dilution stuff going on. I mean, I'm nowhere near as competent in that stuff as you guys are. But another key takeaway that I got was there seems to be some new edge maybe in pre-market where you see crazy blow-off moves, and maybe it's starting to become more lucrative to wake up a little bit earlier and, at least putting on like maybe starters after a crazy blow-off move. And since the range is so crazy, maybe there's some money to be made, right? You can keep your size small and still get a 30-40% fade into the open. So that's something I'm going to be watching for in the future, and then maybe even start taking that trade if it starts to consistently show up.
So while you're doing that, let me chime in on it. There is a lot of quant guys, big guys in the past. These guys have made like 7 figures, but they're the ones that are blowing up. And this is why when JJ was mentioning it, I think I was a bit hesitant. So if you look at the data for the past 5 years, on average, I'm making some of this stuff up because I don't have the accurate number. I have a rough ballpark. what they would do, Adnan, is they would short when the stock is like 200% and 100. They would short with like 75, and then it goes to 200. They would risk add another position to it, and then all of the stops are like 100% stop wide stops. So pre-market is low volume, so that's why their blow off is happening. That's why it's like up 1,000% stop.
Well, like if I were to take that trade, I would never approach it that way. It would be like,
I know you're gonna wait
once
until it goes down. I know.
yeah, once it's starting to drop, then I know where the top, like where to risk off of. It'd be like a pretty wide risk, but
Yes.
it would. I'm not shorting the front side at all. I'd let it top out, and then once it's started to fade 10-15%, then you can speculate that, okay, this thing's probably done now.
Never in my mind crossed that you were gonna front side short. I know you're smart in the aspect that you would wait for the blow off, but just wanted to give you a perspective of why my 2 cents why it's happening. But yeah, you're right. Once it tops out and it like fades 50% and the stock is pushed up 560%. But there may be times, the point that I was trying to make is there may be times that the stock looks top heavy and it's like a 200%, 150%. I think those ones I would be careful for, because I'm sure some of them have adapted and have made a higher low than a short. But the point being, if it's 500% or 600%, and then that blow off candle happens and then it fades 30-40%, that one's a lot more lucrative than if it's 150%.
Right.
Yeah, that's all cool. Okay, anything else that stuck out from today? Anything else that stuck out or any other thoughts?
No, I think that was mostly it.
Okay, awesome. So, keep it short, sweet. Anybody else has any other comments that they want to mention before we, Martin, Arsenal, or Ben?
Everything seems good.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I learned a lot today. I'm enjoying it. I personally feel a bit better. I think as our market recap is getting a bit shorter and a bit more precise and value add. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. The small little implement small little increment improvements. As always, if anything else you guys want to see improved, let me know. Yep. So have a wonderful, beautiful day, guys. Thank you. If you guys made it this far, that means you liked it, you enjoyed it. I hope this was useful, beneficial. Feel free to write in the comments what you want. And also, if you are a trader that has made 7 figures in one point in your career, 7 figures profit, and you want to see if we're a good fit, shoot me a DM and Do Good Capital Twitter handle. If somebody approaches you, just don't get scammed. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this is useful. Share it with somebody you think that would benefit from it. And thank you very much.